some of that motor memory. This is what allows you to have smooth, well, not so much smooth, but predictable, anticipatory movement. So that you can say, oh, I know how to walk without thinking about it. It is amazing that you can walk without thinking about it when you really take the time to ponder that question. The idea that you're not thinking about moving the left leg, right leg, and you know, oh, I need to extend, I need to. No, you're not thinking about any of that. You're just doing it, and you're going to have to figure out how to get your patients to do that in the future, or how to adapt to doing things differently. And what else about this? Anything else you can think of? You want to look at some exciting complexities? Oh, good. What?
Is when we remember how to walk, this thing is going on, right?
You are using many different parts of your brain when you're learning how to walk. First of all, you're learning how to use your homunculus, okay? But what this is doing is, as you learn from step to step, you have to remember and you have to figure out how to anticipate making your next step without thinking about it. You can't, none of us can actually remember that. But when you were first learning to walk, and when you watch little kids learning how to walk, you watch the concentration on their face. You watch the concentration in taking that step and anticipating the next step. And there's a tremendous amount of concentration going on. And if you interrupt a child when they're first learning how to walk, they fall. And that question is why? I can talk while I'm walking. I don't fall most of the time. You know, it's pretty straightforward. It's because now those pathways that go out to my limbs and my distal limbs are all working wonderfully. They are functioning without any input from my brain. Those signals, and we're going to see how signals are moving around. The cortex is indeed involved, but you ignore it. You're not paying attention to it. So that's the part of motor memory that's involved. And it's the same thing when I watch students on a keyboard. It drives me crazy. Okay? I just watch students sit there going, if I did that, it would be like a foreign language in front of me. It would that nobody could read, because I just can't type. I suck. It's terrible. I can't do it because I don't have that motor memory. I chose not to use that skill. So, whereas you know, you guys are all phenomenal at it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. So, how do these signals move? What's going on? Well, we're going to take the time to look at the deep cerebellar nuclei here. Now, they are deep in the cerebellum, close to the peduncles. So these are the signals coming out from the peduncles through here. These are the nuclei. This is the cortex. The cortex is what we've just been looking at. We've just been looking at the cortical layer, all right? And then down here we have the olive. We're going to have the vestibular nuclei. We're going to take a look at a lot of different things here. And we're going to be bouncing signals around. So, once again, I look at this. The cell body, oh, that's a signal going up to the motor cortex. All right, that signal. Huh. Yeah, signal coming down from here. Oh. So let's look at what's happening. I want to take you back to an earlier slide, just for a minute. So, dentate nucleus, okay? The interposed and the vestigial. These are going to be going and involved with all of the pathways we're going to be looking at for the next little bit. So here's the dentate. Superior cerebellar peduncle over here. One signal pathway comes out, synapses, ventrolateral nucleus. Does that ring a bell? What bell does that ring? The thalamic bell. All right? It's going to synapse. It's going to go up to the motor cortex. Okay? And in the motor cortex, that's going to be involved with an arm or a leg structure. Are we okay with that? So it's going to allow you to utilize an arm or a leg. Are we spreading? It is. It's moving back. It is. It is. Don't worry, you're next. All right. But also look, simultaneously here, we've got a signal coming out to the red nucleus, synapsing in the inferior olive, coming up via the olivocerebellar fibers, they're coming from the olive going to the cerebellum, and synapsing. This fiber here, coming up from the inferior olive, wish I had, is a climbing fiber. All right? So I really think, I guess that didn't work, it would be to your advantage to print out a couple pages from this separately so you could have simultaneous pages sitting in front of you. This is just a pathway. This pathway, okay, so we have the climbing fiber coming in here. This is now going to come out. It could inhibit over here in the deep brain, deep cerebellar nuclei. Inhibition could go from here directly back up to the cortex, so that you prevent over-response. Inhibition, your brain is really, you have to grab hold of that, hang on to that concept. Your brain is overwhelmingly inhibiting what's happening. So these are the pathways involved with the dentate. So these signals that are coming out of the dentate, and there are signals going to the dentate as well, but the signals coming out of the dentate go to the contralateral motor cortex via the contralateral thalamus. They go to the contralateral red nucleus, which then goes to the ipsilateral inferior olive, coming back to the contralateral cerebellar cortex. So if I asked you the effect of the dentate nucleus on the cerebellar cortex, is it contralateral or ipsilateral?
Ipsilateral.
What?
Ipsilateral.
It's ipsilateral. But it's ipsilateral via two contralateral maneuvers. Because the signal from here has its output right there. Those are on the ipsilateral side. Does that make sense? This is going to be the ultimate in paying attention to movement of signals, because this is the simple one. Are we cool? Can I move on? Can I go to the interposed? Oh yeah, now we're talking. Superior cerebellar peduncle over here. Signal comes out Oh yes, ventrolateral nucleus, cool. Goes on up to the motor cortex. Synapsing, coming on down, pyramids, going on out, lateral cortical spinal tract. So, the interposed nucleus stimulates a signal that's going to become part of the lateral cortical spinal tract. That's cool. That's neat. We go to the contralateral cortex, and from the cortex we go to the contralateral lateral cortical spinal tract. Well, we have a second set of signals coming out. They go to the red nucleus. Red nucleus is important for movement. Signal comes on out, decusses in the ventral tegmental decussation, and becomes the rubrospinal tract. Bang. So now, from weeks ago when we talked about motor pathways, you had the rubrospinal tract and lateral cortical spinal tract, and now you're seeing some inputs that influence those two tracts. So, let's do something a little more exciting. The fastigial nucleus. Signals are moving all over the place in here, okay? Superior cerebellar peduncle. So, signal comes on up, synapses in the tectum. Continues on up, synapses, ventrolateral nucleus. Continues up, synapses in the motor cortex. Now, second signal decusses in the uncate, or the uncinate. It's hard, because this is a hard C, it's a K. So, comes on down, synapses in the vestibular.